And we don't have an agenda, do we? Oh,
We
very
do.
little.
Yep. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Health and Human Services Council Committee meeting. Today is March 6th. We're here in council chambers and looking forward to a wonderful discussion this evening. Public is welcome to attend these meetings or join remotely. However, we do not accept public comment at our council committee meetings. Tonight we have a relatively short agenda. First, we're going to be discussing our 2024 goal setting for the committee and different issue areas that we'd like to tackle. And then we'll go into committee webpage updates and review and update future agenda items, which is pretty closely tied to agenda item number 1. So I guess I'll hand it over to Jennifer, if you don't mind, to talk about goal setting for the committee, and we can have a discussion about what we would like to do for the year. Thanks.
Yeah, so we do have, tentative in that we're just making sure the right folks are available, but I think pretty confident we can get to a update on the congregate shelter grant dollars from the county, the $4 million that is available. We're working on a location for that, and so should be good for that for your next meeting for April. And then at the end of last year, we kind of cleared out a lot of the items that were stragglers a bit on the pending list, and so what's left is really bullet around homelessness prevention, tenant protections, rental registry, and that is it. That is what's on the list. So I think it would be great to talk about, if there are policies that are in this sort of health and human services area that you're interested in or kind of interested in learning about or curious about, or if there are topics that you want just kind of some educational information about that this is a good platform for. It'd be good to think about that, talk about that.
Fantastic. So yeah, I think great to hear that there'll be an update next month. So I've been racking my brain for the last week or so to think about, what types of goals we do want to have for our committee, but also balancing it with the services that the city can and does provide. I think we're doing the best that we can with addressing homelessness, with addressing housing affordability, but since the city's not we're not administrators of housing facilities, it's a bit difficult to establish policies for programs that we don't actually have at the city. So when I think about, how do we address housing affordability, I have to pull myself back in to think about what is within the purview of the work that we do and our authority to influence market rates and to influence capitalism and the market in general, and what can we do for making sure that we're having a city that's affordable for everybody that lives here. So I've been trying to keep that in mind and having that as my frame of reference for when I was thinking through different goal setting committees. I know there's a number of initiatives that are already in the works that the city's working on with addressing homelessness and housing, the Rethink Housing Plan. So I also see it as a little bit difficult to identify more things that we should be doing when there's already quite a few things and quite a few building blocks that are already in place or about to be stacked on top of each other towards reaching our goal. So I have a couple of ideas. I know that we had talked about it during our council retreat of things that we'd like to see council as a whole do, and then that got divvied up into the different committees and different issue areas that we have. But as a whole, I was running a little bit short on specific policies that our committee could tackle just based off the work that we're already doing, policies that are already in place, and the things I had mentioned.
We did bring some housing policy to the Built Environment Committee, comprehensive plan work related to housing, brought it to Built Environment last year. But I could see sort of where it fits in the work plan. It's certainly timely, probably in the next, 6 months or so, but that could be something that might make sense. I think I've thought of your committee more on the human services, community development angle, but you do have housing in their title, and yeah, so there might be some things there that, I mean, there's definitely still a lot that is at play, I guess, in the comprehensive plan update related to housing and, you know, what the future looks like and what the policy direction is. So that could be, yeah, could be something to add.
Yeah, I think we did have an update last year of how housing and homelessness intersects with our comp plan, which will be coming due soon. So I think maybe a update to the update would be helpful and just where we are in that process. So comp plan is pretty important to say the least. So just being up to date on that and having check-ins along the way as it continues to be developed and zhushed would be great. Councilmember Dewey?
Yeah, I had a couple little things here. I think it would be nice, and it's more of an update just on the status of the women's pallet shelter. And then maybe, you know, with that could come, you know, the one at the Faith Family one, just to see how it's all going and how it's working, I think would be really good. And then also, I kind of see what kind of falls into our committee when I look back at the ARPA funding that the council allocated last year. A lot of it went to human services and not so much housing, but definitely human services and community development type things. So I know Susie, we had talked about bringing that back after the first quarter, I think. We gotta get her before she retires. Hold her to that, but I think that would be nice, and maybe there's some suggestions or ideas that staff could generate for, I know not all the council members found it easy to allocate. So we wanna help those that need a little assistance there. I don't know if Ben's done his yet or not.
He's not quite, but yeah, I'm doing an update. You'll hear this again in an hour, a little bit more than an hour, I guess. But yeah, we'll get an update on the council COVID allocations, but we also could just review
The whole thing.
the big bucket of things that went into community development and human needs related items. Yeah, and then the rest of the sort of like the next tranche that is possible that you suggested during the budget procedure or proceedings. We were going to bring that with that first budget amendment. Whenever that happens in the next, I don't know, couple months, I would imagine, but yeah.
You know, it would be also, when we do look at the ARPA allocations as a whole, it would be nice to kind of just have a walkthrough of, okay, so when these funds are used up, this project ceases to move forward, you know, that doesn't have ongoing funding, or maybe they're just a one-time expense. But some of these things are ongoing, and I think it would be good for us to look at that and say, we got to figure this one out. This is proven to be really substantial for our community. So how can we figure out how to keep it going? So I would like to have that kind of conversation when you do that allocation. Thanks.
That's great, thank you. And I know the mayor's gonna be giving her State of the City address soon, and I assume part of that is also gonna be some mayoral directives, question mark?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
great.
don't know, actually. I have seen the draft, but I don't. Last year, I don't know exactly
So,
how it operationalizes after that, but.
yeah, last year there was a really great breakdown of mayoral directives and then some steps to get to head in that direction. I know we saw a sneak preview at our retreat as well. So I think that is a helpful roadmap for us to stay in lockstep with administration and goals of administration, so we're all doing our three-legged race in the same direction. So if there's, you know, TBD, but whatever is included in that might fall within our committee that we can help with or work with administration along the way, I think would be great, so that we can be just part of the policy-making portion of events.
Yeah, I mean, last year, I'm remember most of the housing-related one, because I was most involved in it, but there were definitely policy elements to that proposal that, you know, would be relevant to bring here. So if that, you know, if and when that happens, then, yeah, that's a good one to have on the list.
Great, and I think other things that are coming down the pike, the Mayor's Drug Task Force will be coming out with their recommendations, so it'd probably be more in September or so for a presentation on what the findings were, and then see what elements might fit within the committee for discussion or for guidance. Another TBD.
Yeah, yeah, but I put it on the list. That's a great one to have.
I was thinking too about the Rethink Housing Plan, and if there are, if there is anything that's currently in the works or in the process for identified goals that were within the report that the city's planning on working on next. So I want to maybe dust that off and see what's in there that we could put on our plates or help out with. And then as a carryover item from past agendas, and also as a fun announcement, Councilor Fossey and I have been working independently on tenant protections. And so we have been working closely with the Housing Justice Project at the Snohomish County Legal Services team to put together a rental registry ordinance, and then also a suite of tenant protections. We put a pause on it because many of those things were also on the docket for this year's state legislative session, and all of them died. So we were hoping that the state would just take care of it, but since they didn't, then we'd like to bring that back to the city to work on implementing here to make sure that our tenants are protected and taken care of.
Okay.
All right, yeah.
And then I pulled up the notes from our retreat in 2023 that had the really great graphic of each of the committees and the list of identified issue areas. And it looks like, you know, the one for Health and Human Services has mental health, addiction, childcare, advocacy, and shelter, temporary housing. And those are all issue areas that we either have talked about or are in the works. So I'm not seeing any lingering things that maybe had fallen off our radar.
Yeah.
Great.
That's great, yeah. I mean, I think there's some, I think the little status update on Rethink Housing and the goals that are in there. I know, you know, there's a handful of them that we accomplished last year with ADU policy, some of the housing development incentives, that package of things around multifamily tax exemption, and two other things, or maybe three. But there were others that are wrapped into the housing element, and there might be others that are kind of just sitting there that time or workload or other issues might mean may not have advanced as much as we want. So it's good to have awareness of that if there's others we need to prioritize. And then I think this is a great forum to talk through if you've got proposals for tenant protection policies and what that looks like. And yeah, the ARPA updates, and I've got the kind of pallet shelter update stuff on there too. So yeah.
Great. Well, that should keep us busy.
And the Drug Crisis Task Force, I didn't say that, but it's on here too, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, they meet again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent. Any other?
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah, I think for our 2024 goal, it should be end homelessness. Just all of it.
Okay, I'll
We
put
can
that
do
on
that.
the
We can do
pending
that,
list.
right?
Yeah.
We can do that.
We can really market it, make money. City, we figured it out.
Okay. All right. Next on our agenda is committee webpage updates. I see that I believe it was Angie who worked really hard to put together some of the different landing pages for each of the council committees. So now they're all listed in this side.
That's great.
And separated, which is great.
Easy to find.
I do think that there should be a bit of a differentiation between the council internal committees and the separate boards and commissions. So I'm not sure if that's 2 drop-down menus or or if it's a,
Oh, yeah,
so that folks don't think that,
we're all in that.
yeah. Cause there are different,
'Cause when you-
committees serve different functions, so to have them in the same list might give the wrong impression of what.
And that's when you click through to the, because the
Yes.
main city the council webpage has them listed, but then because those committees live on the boards and commissions site, they have that sidebar, but, yeah, I think we can,
What does it look
I
like?
agree, yeah, that makes sense to me.
Maybe, or just a heading that says council committees, list them, and then go down to the other ones. What does our council page look like that
Well, actually, yeah,
follows into that?
I'm sure our AV folks love us with our additional elements here, but, so the boards and commissions site has this boards and commissions A through L and M through Z, and, you know, this one's in the A through L section, but I'm sure it wouldn't be so hard to just create a third category here.
Well, when you expand A through L, it lists the council committees at the top
Yeah,
there.
so if there was just, wasn't just A through L and through
separate.
Z, it was those and council committees, yeah.
And then I think, which page am I on?
As a way to solve that, kind of,
And then when I'm on the individual committee pages, it lists them all out on the
Yeah.
side. So having that bar differentiate between internal council and,
So then what is it? 'Cause she
Community
did it
advisory.
I haven't looked at it yet, but on the council page, then it also lists our committees. And she sent us a screenshot of it, but it'd be nice to look at it if we have.
yeah, that homepage looks great, because it's got, you know, districts, meetings, meeting of documents, and then the committees. It's just once you click through to each committee, then then it's like in the boards and commissions page, and that's what kind of has it all.
Okay.
And a combined list, so, but, yeah. It's good, we've talked about this at all. You might be, I don't know if you're the last committee where I will talk to about it, but everyone has found something to clean up on the website, so it's great.
Yeah, this is a big deal, because I just had a constituent that was trying to locate the latest safe committee meeting, so now hopefully he found it.
yeah, I really like the buttons that are on here. I think it helps to break up the text and, looks like I see Brenda is still on here, so that'll need to be
Yeah.
updated.
Huh.
But I know it was a lot of work to turn each of these into its own individual link. So when you click on it individual, it takes, you go to their page instead of just council as a whole, so that's great.
Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if Brenda's still getting emails.
Well, her picture does link to Councilmember Bader, so that,
Oh, okay.
that graphic exists, we just gotta get it to the main page, yeah.
Good. Great. Yeah, I think anything that helps folks stay informed is wonderful. And then review and update pending future agenda items.
Well, we added to them, so we're, yeah. And I kind of read through them, but, so you guys just heard them, and, yeah.
Okay, great. Great. That's that.
I think so, yeah, yeah.
Should we tell
Well,
story?
What?
Should we tell stories for the last 40 minutes?
That's
Or
40 minutes, oh, if you'd like. So again, I'll work on verifying that we have that congregate shelter grant update next month, and then, you know, we might be able to grab another item from the list that we talked about tonight. I'll see what what there's time for and what I can share, and, yeah, so.
Great.
I'm always here, I'm always happy to just share information if I have it, so.
Great. Sounds good.
Okay.
All right, thanks, everybody. With that, it's 5:20. We are adjourned.